Yes.
Pyrex, a microwave in
I'm
the
out
whip.
here,
You
you
probably
heard?
think I'm baking cake when I'm working the whip. You probably think it's Pyrex.
Whole lot of shots followed after I bust your snot box with this a rock bottle. Shoot the fair one, mono the clown. I pull it.
Welcome back to Senior Basketball Analyst. We had another NBA TV game that we get to recap here. Philadelphia 76ers versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the first thing that jumps out, right away, look, Cleveland basically just ran a bunch of dudes out there. So at the bottom of the Cleveland Cavaliers roster, there's a lot of opportunity to make a team because you're getting to play. LeBron James did not play. And by the way, we're starting with LeBron James. What a fantastic gift of an ambassador LeBron James is to the NBA. We've seen the selfie that he did with some kids in the previous preseason game. Tonight, he's taking pictures with another kid, letting her sit on the bench with him. LeBron James, man, this is a guy he's at work. This is during the games. And he's managing to do all these things while being the best player in the world. And you just see, and we remember the old clip where he was playing catch back and forth with a fan. Again, during a game. LeBron James really has come into his own as not just being a great player now, but again, being a great ambassador and creating all of these moments. Not just something that the NBA can cheaply throw around as a photo op, but that real fans have a real experience with him that they can take away that's unique. Again, I could talk about how great LeBron James is all day, but unfortunately, I didn't actually get to see him play tonight because it's a preseason game, and that's what Cleveland decided to do tonight. They just decided, hey, we're not going to play the guy. So Kevin Love also didn't play. We know Kyrie Irving is still recovering from the broken kneecap, did not play. Iman Shumpert is injured, did not play. But J.R. Smith, not injured, just didn't play. Timofey Mozgov did not play. So what we're seeing here is we're basically seeing the core of the Cleveland rotation removed from the lineup, not playing tonight. On the other hand, the Philadelphia 76ers, did play the core of their rotation. And frankly, the Philadelphia 76ers, I almost think that the league needs to step in and not make a public spectacle of it, but behind closed doors, they need to tell the Philadelphia 76ers that they need to do something because they're not putting professionals on the court. You have to give your fans an entertaining product. That's what this is. The point of this is entertaining. And I got to be honest with you. It's not entertaining to watch these random players make mistakes over and over again and get blown out. It's not entertaining. And tonight they win the game and everybody, there's a lot of exclamation points going on with Twitter. Sixers make an incredible comeback, win the game. Winning a preseason game is beyond meaningless, especially, and I say beyond meaningless in this point, it would be meaningless even if the Sixers had played any core players, but they didn't. They did not play. The only guaranteed rotation players that played tonight were Mo Williams and Anderson Varejao. That's it. Everybody else on this team, Matthew Dellavedova is at best the third string point guard, at best at this point. And even if you slot him at shooting guard, he's at best third string there behind Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith. This is not a rotation player. He's not. And the injuries are why they didn't win the championship. That's why they didn't win. And he was in rotation. That's why they went and got Mo Williams. That's why they have Jared Cunningham on the roster. Jared Cunningham, by the way, rolling, 31 points. And look, this was not a cheap 31. This is 31 points, 8 of 10 from the field, 13 of 16 from the free throw line. rolling. And here's the thing. Again, now Philadelphia is terrible. So it's not like you say 31 points, oh man, start Jared Cunningham. That's not what you mean. But when somebody is that efficient and the way he was getting, I was watching him play and I said, oh man, this guy can compete for the backup point guard spot. He can compete with Mo Williams. And you know, Mo is a good player, but he's obviously old. We saw Mo still has it. You know, he had a 50-point game last year. We know Mo still has it. He can still function and play well. But, you know, Jared Cunningham, this kid can finish at the rim. He's explosively quick. He can make open jump shots. So you can't leave him open at the arc. He makes good decisions. He's the guy's a nice player, man. He's a nice player to bring off your bench. So it was encouraging to see Anderson or Jared Cunningham, a guy that's trying to make the team. It was good to see him make a couple of steps. He has an opportunity to carve himself out a place at the bottom of the rotation. And hey, by the time Kyrie Irving comes back, you could see him. I could picture it, him being the backup point guard. I'm not going to say he's going to beat out Mo Williams, but he's good enough where he might have an opportunity to do that. Look, let's talk about Philly. I mean, you don't want to be really hard on the players. You never want to just come on here and down talk the players. But they're a mess. They really are. They're a mess. And it's the front office. It's their fault. And I can't even evaluate. This is one of the things about Philly that's frustrating when you watch them. Their roster is such a mess. It's hard to evaluate anything that's happening. It's hard to evaluate, is their timing messed up on their pick and rolls because their players are bad? Or is it because their coaching is bad? Or is it because the coach has not had an opportunity enough to work with these players because they have so much roster turnover? They were talking about it during the game. They were like, Covington is the only player left from a couple of years ago. When I'm listening to the announcers, I'm like, you're not going to say anything about how the front office just keeps – we all – Drew Holiday, just jettison him. Then you jettison Andre Iguodala, future Finals MVP. You jettison Thaddeus Young. And then you did all of these things. You blew the roster up to get Michael Carter-Williams. Michael Carter-Williams plays well for you as a rookie. Jettison him too. Are you going to put an entertaining product on the court or not? Are you going to put an entertaining product on the court or not? So what are we left with? Well, Nerlens Noel is out there again, and Nerlens does certain things just well enough for them to not work. He can handle the ball a little bit, but not quite well enough to get all the way to the basket and finish. He's athletic, but somehow he manages to blow a lot of easy bunnies at the rim. He's a very low efficiency player. 2 of 5 from the field, 6 of 12 from the free throw line. And again, these are against third-string Cavalier players. Third-string players. Many of these players are not going to make the roster he was running against. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable for Nerlens. I need more than that because, and I'm holding him to a high standard. Look, you look at it and you just go, 10 points, 15 rebounds, 3 steals and a block. What are you mad about? I'm not mad, but I know that's not good enough when I know who he was playing against. It wasn't good enough. It looked bad out there. Jahlil Okafor. Oh, Jahlil. Jahlil Okafor was on the block against some guy named Sasha Khan. I've never heard of this guy. He was on the block against this dude, and it was not free lunch, man. He struggled. At times, he made some plays. He was trying to back down and get his drop step going. After he got the first drop step to go, Sasha Khan pulled the chair on him, and he fell and walked. It looked bad out there for Jahlil. They need Jahlil Okafor has to be a concrete block in that low post like Zach Randolph. He has to be like Al Jefferson. He has to be an easy bucket guy on that block. He cannot be matched up against Cleveland Cavaliers, guys that I don't see any reason why Sasha Khan should make the roster after watching him play. And that is who Jahlil Okafor was made. He was matched up with a D-leaguer. And it was not free lunch, man. It was not free lunch. Jahlil Okafor, 4 of 12 from the field, 12 points, 6 rebounds. That's not getting it done. We need more out of him. And look, for all I know, Jahlil Okafor will be looking midseason. He could be throwing around 10-point games like he's handing out flapjacks. And this could all be a distant memory. But I did not like what I saw in the first time I got a chance to see him play. I did not like at all what I saw. Isaiah Cannon, Isaiah Cannon is a decent player. He just needs to be on a real team. Watching him run around out there with these guys, it was depressing. Jeremy Grant is another guy. Jeremy Grant has no purpose on a team like this. Jeremy Grant needs to be on a team with a point guard that can push the tempo and get him in positions where he can be catching and finishing at the rim strong. He needs to be on a team where he can cut back door and people can find him, throw him alley-oops. He needs to be on a team like that. This team does not have their point guard play. This TJ McConnell kid. TJ McConnell was out there, and the announcers were talking him up. And the dude, they're talking him up, and he blows a layup, an open crib. I'm like, man, this is not professional basketball that we're watching people doing these things. Guys blowing open layups, that is unacceptable. This is the type of stuff, if you're at the run at the local university, after work, and somebody blows a crib like that and people are laughing and like, man, this dude needs to get off the court. This isn't a professional NBA game. I'm watching this. Guys blowing layups. And again, not challenged layups where you're trying to finish over a center. Open cribs. Can't have it. I can't have that when I'm watching NBA basketball. And I know you won't win games. They're going to have another season yet again where they can't win 20 games. That's what they're looking at. And, again, Richard Jefferson started in this game. He's barely in the rotation. Mo Williams started in this game. He's not a starter. Matthew Dellavedova, again, third string point guard, third string shooting guard. James Jones, not a rotation player. Anderson Varejao came in the game, free lunch. It was free lunch. You know what he looked like? He looked the way Okafor was supposed to look. Anderson Varejao played 6 minutes. He came in the game, ran 6 minutes, and he's recovering from the torn up Achilles tendon. He came in the game 6 minutes, 5 of 7 from the field. He was being guarded by some guy. I had never heard of this guy, Furkan Aldemir. I've rarely seen somebody play defense this poorly. This guy has no clue. And here's the thing. It wasn't that he was being it wasn't like Peja Stojakovic type defense where he just doesn't really care and he's not even trying anything. This guy was trying to do things, but he didn't know where to stand. He was doing things like Anderson Varejao is a right-handed player, and he's playing him to his left. While Anderson Varejao finger rolls over his head. It was a pretty finger roll, too. But, with a sick finger roll like he's George Gervin, and Furkan is on his left hand. Since when does Anderson Varejao routinely finish with his left hand? It was just things like that he was doing where you're looking at him and you're like, this is not a professional basketball player. What is he doing out there? Nobody knows. Nobody knows because Philly just isn't putting a professional product on the court. And look, Cleveland had their share of foolishness out there too. And to their credit, these guys may not make the roster. Man, Austin Day, I've never understood the Austin Day project. I've never understood it. I did not understand why Detroit drafted him so high. I did not understand why they kept talking him up like he was a future star. I never see Austin Day do anything that looks like a successful professional basketball player. Nothing. And he fouled out today in 24 minutes. He fouled out in a preseason game against the Philadelphia 76ers in 24 minutes. Austin Day doesn't know what he's doing. and he's a veteran at this point. This is not a young kid. He's a veteran. He doesn't know what he's doing. Some guy named Nick Minerath came in, and he's your classic kind of creative player. Like, he's a dude covered in tattoos, and like, he's like, you create a player, you want to look cool. Like, this is like Pero Antich, or like back when Lamar Odom used to wear the headband, and then he would have an armband and the wristband, and then then he would have the black wrist tape and then the armband. He had and then he had the 2 calf sleeves, so he had all the accessories. Some of those years back with the Lakers, like those are your guys that like they come out on the court looking like creative players. That's who Nick Minerath is. It's like, man, who's the last cut? We might just keep Nick because he looks cool. But I'll tell you, he can't play day. He's terrible. He can't play at all. In Cleveland, they weren't doing anything but, again, evaluating the bottom of their roster. But mainly I wanted to watch Jahlil Okafor, and I need to see more. I need to see more out of him. I need to see him on the block again. I need to see up and under. I need to see, what would be nice too? It would be nice to see him with a short jump hook. Jahlil Okafor terrorized his opponents in college on that box. I need to see that in the NBA, and the Philadelphia Sixers need to see it. Nerlens Noel is now moving to the power forward position. He's got a lot of work to do. Jahlil Okafor also has a lot of work to do, and he's supposed to be better than Nerlens. Jahlil is supposed to be the cornerstone of this franchise. Now, given the Philadelphia Sixers' recent history, they might trade him, the same way they did Michael Carter-Williams. That you may look up and he's not on the team anymore. But in the meantime, I need to see him again. When he's matched up with the likes of Sasha Khan, who, I'll tell you, if Tristan Thompson is re-signed, like LeBron and everybody that roots for the Cavs would want him to be re-signed. If Tristan Thompson comes back, there's no way this guy's going to make the roster. He has zero place here. I need to see Jahlil Okafor annihilate this guy. That's what I need to see. So, I think that I just think that Philly just is not doing right by their fans right now, and I can't recommend watching this team at all because I just don't feel like they're putting a professional product out here. The last thing I'll say is there was only really one bright spot for this team, and I down-talked them just a second ago, but now I'm going to speak positive about him. Nerlens Noel does one thing really well, and that's his pick and roll defense. Now, they get scored on the pick and roll because their guards don't do the right thing. But Nerlens has very, very good awareness in a pick and roll situation. And I'll give you a couple of examples. So as we talked about earlier, Mr. Jared Cunningham was annihilating these guys. And Jared Cunningham is a threat to shoot over a screen on a pick and roll or drive and finish, which is this type of skill set that you need a starting guard in the NBA in today's NBA to have. Nerlens Noel did a great job of what's called icing Jared Cunningham. What that means is when the screen is set, so if a screen is set here, Nerlens Noel and the offensive player is going to come this way on the screen. Nerlens Noel did a good job of showing up top and forcing Jared Cunningham back to the sideline and then recovering back into his man. What you'll notice if you back in the Celtics heyday with Rondo, Kevin Garnett running that pick and roll D, Kevin Garnett's the master at icing and then getting back to his man. Kevin Garnett would steal that pass if you tried to throw it to his man rolling to the basket. So he would stop the point guard from using the screen, then get back to his man in time. Nerlens Noel it was 2 consecutive plays, 2 consecutive possessions. The first time, he did a great job of icing Jared Cunningham, who was hot. He did a great job of stopping him from either scoring or making a pass back to Nerlens' man who's rolling to the basket. Then, the next possession, Cleveland ran a pick and roll, Matthew Dellavedova. Matthew Dellavedova, not nearly as good a player as Jared Cunningham. Dellavedova is unlikely to hide behind that screen and pull up for a long three and hit it. So you know what Dellavedova likes to do. He likes to dive into the paint and then throw that alley-oop up to the rolling center. Now, the rolling center in this case is not Tristan Thompson. It is not Timofey Mozgov. And it also, in this case, was not even Anderson Varejao. So the center was not very good. But nevertheless, Nerlens did a great job of saying, hey, I'm not going to ice Dellavedova. I don't think he can make that. I'm going to stand back and wait for Dellavedova in the paint. And sure enough, Dellavedova came right to him. He didn't even look at the three because he's not that type of shooter. He needs to be spot up, standing stock still. He's not a good pull-up shooter. He didn't even look at it. He drove. As soon as he got into the paint, Nerlens Noel stuck him up. Quick hands, he's back out on the break. Most power forwards can't do that. Most power forwards, and Dellavedova doesn't have a tight handle, but even still, most power forwards in the NBA cannot stick up guards like that. And he stuck him up easily. He waited. He knew. He set him up. He knew exactly what he was doing. If the rest of Nerlens Noel's game looked like that, he'd be a superstar. Like, that's how good he is at those two things. And here's the thing. That's important, man, because the bulk of the league runs some kind of pick and roll as their base go-to option. And then they work other options off of that. And then that's where the differing comes in usually. So it's an incredible skill set to have, but they just aren't good enough to utilize it. And for one thing, their point guards, they're both their point guards and shooting guards are all subpar defenders. So this is not going to be a difference maker for the 76ers, but it is something I noticed about Nerlens Noel's game. And I like to end these on a positive note. So let's just end it there. Please do. You like videos, hit it with a thumbs up. Always, come jump up in the comment section. I love to talk to you, talk basketball. So if you have a question or a comment, you think that I'm completely full of garbage, you think I stink, please hit us up in the comment section. SBA 4-string on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook, the Senior Basketball Analyst, seniorbasketballanalyst.com is the website.
Oh yes, Sean Carter is nice, but Sean Price is the best. Sean gone, no Sean Dawn. Sean is a dawn I don't